Hey guys, Luca. I wanted to do a review of some sealed. I feel like it's more valuable to me if I go over my matches and like go over, yeah, just like what cards overperform, what cards underperform, and think about like whether my deck building choices were correct or incorrect, at least like how they play out. And just by doing that, kind of learn more per each game that I play, as opposed to just just like playing a ton of matches and maybe not learning as much from each one. So I'm going to start doing this review. I made a text file of this deck list. I'll put it in the comments or in the description. So I like to first look at the rarities for a pool. So like Dracogenesis is not happening. There's 2 Sultai rares, along with the Fleshcrafter, which works best in the Sultai strategy. So kind of like 3 Sultai rares jump out at me, and then you have 2 rares that are more like Jeskai. You can maybe count the Winternight Stories as a Jeskai type card, but it works in any blue deck. It'll work in Temur, it'll work well in Sultai, and it'll also work well in Jeskai. Just because like in Jeskai, any card drawing spells are usually good because they can help you hit Flurry. And in the Sultai, you can discard renew cards, like this Fleshcrafter. And in Temur, you have really big creatures to harmonize easily. Dalkovan Encampment is like pretty good in Mardu strategies. I found from playing this format a lot, like you can. So sometimes people just play the 5-color, like play all my bombs, play all my removal, play all my card draw, my card advantage spells, and that can work. The mana fixing is really good in this format, but in general, I found my most success has been 3-color. Because when you play 3-color, you just get to play like cards that synergize well together. For example, like Codis is so much better if you have lots of counters to put on it. A Cori-Steel Cutter is a lot better, obviously, if you can get Flurry. Shiko works better in a Flurry deck. You just get all these little incremental advantages by having cards that work well together, and your mana is going to be a little bit better. Just like more untapped lands, you get to curve out better if you're playing 3 colors. So that's what I found. So, notable uncommons. So after I look at the rares, I like to look at the uncommons. This is a good Mardu card. This card's great with Codis. You can put 3/1/1 counters on it, and just a good card in general. This is a good Mardu card. This is a really good Jeskai card. This card's pretty solid. Sometimes you get some good synergies with this, like if you have the Kishla Skimmer, but I don't have the Skimmer. I don't really have any synergies with the card, but the card's just good in general. This is obviously good in Jeskai, but can be not bad in Mardu either. Just like this is pretty good in Mardu. It also can work in Abzan. This could be good in Jeskai, etc. So I have like some Kishla Trawlers, some removals. The other thing I like to look at is like what removal am I working with? So the removal is like, I think this pool doesn't have a lot of removal. Coordinate Maneuver in certain decks can be removal. Dragon Spray. This is like kind of a removal spell because it usually has targets. And then you can think of Dispelling Exhale technically as removal if you have enough dragons, because if you counter unless they pay 4, it's like pretty close to a full counter spell. So yeah, so looking at this, there's like, I don't really see a Temur deck that I can make. I mean, this card is a great Temur card, but it didn't really look like there's Temur. There looked like to be a Sultai deck, and I've had probably my most success playing Sultai in this format. And then there's probably like an aggro deck, although I haven't had too much success with aggro. It could be that I'm not playing it correctly or building it correctly. So anyways, that's kind of just a quick rundown of like what's in the pool, and then I'll show you what decks I made. So this is my Sultai deck. I'm trying to play dragons to support these Dispelling Exhales, so I might normally not play like this guy, but I'm playing him just to help me have more dragons for Dispelling Exhale, which I think is really good in this format. 2 Delta Bloodflies. I think the Bloodflies are okay. I have a third one in the pool, but I think 3 is a bit much. Same with the Dispelling Exhale. I think 3 might be a bit much, but maybe not. I think playing a 1-0. So what I found in this format is playing lots of 1-0s is good because you can, at least with the Sultai deck, you're gonna draw through your deck usually, and having like lots of things that are good in different situations. It's better to have one of each, like a split of cards I've found, than having like the most efficient card and having 2 of them. Also, mana considerations, you know, you might have a draw where you're missing a source, so you're missing your blue, you're missing your green, you're missing your black, so in that case, you'd rather have a mix. And you can just like curve out more easily if you have more options. That's what I've found at least. So what were the things that I was thinking? So I have another Kishla Trawlers. I don't know if this is correct to only play 1, but I'm only playing 1. A lot of times, I think like half the time in this format, I'm just playing this as a 3-2 because like I just would rather curve out than try to wait and get value. I don't have a lot of self mill in this deck either. I don't have like Rakshas's Bargain or like Enoch guy, the 2-drop. So I don't have a lot of ways to self mill, so I don't think this is as good in my deck. Like it's not gonna always be able to trigger. So I'm only playing 1, so that was kind of a decision I had to make. The other decision is like maybe you don't want to play this. I don't think this card's that great in Sultai, but the Surveil is cool because you can put useful cards in your graveyard. But usually you're not trying to like tempo people out. You're trying to like play a slower game. I thought about the Inspirited Vanguard. It's a pretty solid card, but I felt like I'd rather have dragons for my Dispelling Exhale. So kind of the last second I caught that for a Dirger Island Dragon. Cruel Truths is potentially good in this deck, especially you may want to hold up 4 mana for like familiar, or you may want to hold up mana for exhale, and then if they play around it, you can punish them with another instant. That's something I thought about, but this is like in general, I don't think it's such a great card. You just lose so much tempo. Usually when my opponents have played this against me, they lost, and I've almost never played this myself. So I don't think you want to play it, but it is something I thought about. I thought about the Brigade maybe. Has some synergy with Knockout Maneuver, but in general, not so great in Sultai, I don't think. But if I'm playing against big creatures like maybe Teamer or something, it could be good. Yeah, that's kind of the only consideration. So it's like, do I want to play more or less Dispelling Exhales? Do I want to play another Bloodflies? Do I want to play this Vanguard? Maybe do I want more power in my deck, another 6-drop. I could also think about this. Playing this for 4 mana is reasonable. It also combines well with Codas. So this is kind of my Sultai build. Hopefully you guys can like see it. And I'm playing the Skirmish, which is kind of awkward. You can't really make use of these tokens, but I think 4 mana destroy something is good enough. Maybe that could be like a Dragonclaw Strike. So that's something to think about. Maybe Salt Road Skirmish is just too like clunky in this type of deck. So something I just thought about now is like you can kill your own Fleshcrafter. Sometimes you really want your Fleshcrafter to die because like let's say you have a dragon in play and you have 2 other creatures. If this is in your graveyard, you just instantly win the game and make all your guys dragons. So it's also, I guess it's kind of a way to kill my own Fleshcrafter, which may come up. And then you get the 2 tokens and the tokens become dragons. So that's actually pretty sick. That can be like a little combo. I just thought of that. So you kill your own Fleshcrafter, you make 2 1/1s, then you copy a dragon, and then your 1/1s become dragons, and you should be able to kill them in one hit. So that's an interesting little interaction that I just realized. Okay. There's a lot of really cool interactions in this format. Like, the more you play it, the more you realize. Like, one of the things that I realized the last time I played is Taigam, the 2-mana mythic blue drop in Jeskai. If you like play at turn 3, you play that, and then you Sagu Wildling, you'll get the Omen like copied, so you search your library for a land. But then in 3 turns, when this comes into play, or in 4 turns, you can choose whether you want the dragon or the Omen. So it's kind of like you're doubling a 1-mana spell, but then you get a 5-mana spell, kind of. I mean, this is not really worth 5 mana, but you get the idea. Okay, so that was one build, and then I was thinking of like a Mardu deck. I haven't found success with Mardu. It could be that I'm just not very good at playing the aggressive decks. One of the really cool things I have in this pool is I have 2 1-drops that are good. Descendant of Storms is a really solid 1-drop. And then I have the Steel Cutter, Voice of Victory, and then I have Shiko. I have Dragonclaw Vanguard. I have like a lot of good aggressive cards, but I just don't know if it's enough. As you'll see in the match that I play, like. So yeah, I'm not super good at aggro. I haven't found much success with it. Maybe I need like Rebellious Strike or something to think about. Maybe that should be in the deck. Maybe the Sun Shields, that's another thing that could maybe help you like force through damage, or the Intimidator can help you force through damage. Maybe I only want to be red-white. Maybe the advantage of playing these black and blue cards is not enough. That's another thing to think about. Or maybe I want more blue. Maybe I want to be playing like Fleshcrafter and just be like straight Jeskai. So that was the deck I built. Have some good rares, but I don't know. I don't think Steel Cutter, it's solid, but it's usually not game breaking, I've found. Like it is in a constructed format. And then I built like a more red-white where I'm just splashing for 1 blue and 1 black. So I'm not totally sure. And then the other option you could also do is you could just build straight red-white. So I could cut these and then have better lands. And then I don't need this Meticulous Artisan. I can play like a Sun Shield or something instead. And then I'm just straight red-white. And almost all my lands come into play untapped. You really want untapped lands for the Descendant of Storms, so. Okay, so let's start with the game review. The first thing I had to think about was, what deck do I want to play? My thought process was, I'm going to go with the red-white because it's the archetype I have the least amount of experience with. I'm not totally sure like which is better, my Sultai or my red-white. So I'm just going to go with the red-white so I can learn as much as possible. So that's what I chose. So let's go to the games. Okay, so I'm playing against 1310 Hazard. Gee, I think he's a solid player. I've seen him like top 8 some constructed stuff. So here we're gonna see. I'm on the play, which is really good. And I'm just hoping he plays lots of tap lands, and then I can kind of get in a lot of damage early and leverage that later. But right away he plays a 1, so already like I just feel like I'm like far behind. Because he can trade his 1-drop for my 2-drop, and then that's kind of the advantage I was going for, was like a tempo advantage. And I don't even have that. And now he plays a 2-drop. Attacks for 1. I don't want to block. Because if I attack, then I trade, but I also get in 2 damage. Plays Strategic Betrayal. So already 1-drop, 2-drop is extremely good against an aggressive deck. Kind of the one axis I was hoping to win on is not working at all. So I play this. This is decent against the sniper. You can't attack anymore. You can't really block well against it either. Plays a mythic. It's like pretty good, but it's card disadvantage, so I could potentially beat him on card advantage when he plays a card like that. I mean, it depends how many creatures he puts decay on. So yeah, I'm just gonna attack here. There's nothing else to do, I don't think. He's not really gonna block, I don't think. And then I could play the 3/3 flyer, but it's probably just gonna trade for his sniper, so I think it's better to just play these. It sucks that he's gonna be able to rock shots or some stuff, but it'll put him behind on tempo for sure. And I'm only like down 1 card if he does that. Attacks, obviously don't want to block. It's gonna die. And then question is, so this is what I've found a lot with the aggressive decks. Like my opponent goes 1-drop into 2-drop into 3-drop, like all powerful cards. I don't know if that's likely. Like, did he just get lucky? He's playing a million colors, but it seems to happen a lot. So here I can play the 3/3 flyer, and then I can make it so he can't block next turn. Those are kind of my options. Or I can play the 4/3. But if I play the 4/3 right now, it doesn't really accomplish much. I feel like I can do more with it next turn. The other option is to activate my land, but I don't think that's worth it. And the other question is, like, do I attack with this 2/1? Or do I wait? Maybe I should have not attacked with the 2/1. Because later in the game it can do more, but I don't think that ended up mattering this game. Also, like, if I draw white, it gives, or draw blue mana, it gives me something to Shiko back. Play this. Yeah, opponent just curves out, like, with the 5-color deck, which is embarrassing for me. Or maybe it's only 4-color. Its code is also pretty good against my aggressive ideas. Do I block here? I don't think it makes sense to block here. If I attack, he'll block, and then I get to presumably get in for 1 more. So he played in Decayed. He put Decayed on my 1/3 flyer, which is kind of nice because I'm just getting a bunch of value off this 1/3 without even attacking. So all my attacking tokens get flying. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know why I thought about this. There's no block. Okay, so I'm getting punished by playing the Shiko, I think, instead of another. It would have been better if it was like the Arashin, Sun, whatever, right? Because then I could be tapping down the Kodas, and I might actually won this game. So maybe splashing bombs isn't really worth it in the more aggressive decks. And Shiko's not even that amazing in this deck. What is it really doing? I mean, it's pretty sick, but yeah, to make it so that guy can't block, and then I can attack for a bunch. Because all the tokens have flying, so I can get in for 5 here. The other thing to think about, with playing aggressive decks in this format is there's a lot of tap lands that gain a life. And so even though your opponent's like has a slow draw, they might gain 2 or 3 life from their lands, which is kind of a problem sometimes. My draws, like, he's curving out with his more powerful deck. I'm hoping to be faster, but we're basically at the same speed, and then he has more powerful cards than me. So what I have going here is I can make my 1/1 token unblockable, and then I can activate my land. So every turn I can get in for like 2 damage. And hopefully that's enough to get him low and then swing with everything. But that's assuming he has nothing, which seems pretty unlikely. Plays a Regent. He didn't want to kill everything. Interesting. I would have just killed everything, dude. Yeah, so my draw is just like, now we're stuck because he has this Kodas. Attacks here don't really work because of the 4/4 flyer. That's what I'm thinking about. So I think the only thing I can really do is just like make my 1/1 unblockable and get in for a little bit of damage. It's not even that much damage, it's only 2 damage. Yeah, I'm thinking about like how much extra damage can I get in for if I So basically, this game's gonna keep on going like this. I'm eventually gonna lose. So let's start thinking about like what overperformed and underperformed. Like what overperformed, I think is the Scary. This 1/3 was pretty sick, and the Mardu strategy. Also, this guy was better than I expected. The 1/2, the mix 1/1. And then what underperformed was Shiko. Shiko was not as good as I expected it to be. Plays like he breaches into a Teamer Monument. Oh, but I also lose this game because he plays Narset's Reversal, but I don't think it matters. I think I would have lost to pretty much any expensive card at this point, but it happened to be Narset's Reversal. So yeah, I don't have any good attacks here. I just do the same thing. I can get him for 2 damage from the 7. Okay, now he has Narset's Reversal. I forget what he does. Is he just like pass and then... Oh, he just does it right away. Yeah, I just scoop here, I think. Obviously. Don't want to show my deck. Okay, so I saw he has Narset's Reversal and that his deck just kind of got me. My aggressive draw was useless. I didn't even have a terrible draw, so I'm like, okay, let me just play Sultai and play 3 to Dispelling Exhale. Like, if he's relying on expensive cards like the 5-mana Dragonstorm and Narset's Reversal, then, or Jeskai Revelation, I don't know why I said Narset. Then I'll just play 3 Dispelling Exhale. Dispelling Exhale is really good against those types of cards. So I go to my Sultai deck, which I think is just better into his deck. And then I didn't see any good targets for my Salt Road Skirmish, so I think I took out the Salt Road Skirmish for Dispelling Exhale. Which is reasonable. There wasn't anything like I really needed to kill. Like the Codis is what I really needed to kill, but the Codis is indestructible. So I think I take out the Skirmish for Dispelling Exhale. So what is the goal of this video? The goal of this video is like, can I find play mistakes later that I couldn't find in the moment? And then also to just mention like which cards overperformed, underperformed relative to what I expected. Yeah, so I think I just take that out, put that in, and then we're good to go. Switching decks is also pretty cool because your opponent might sideboard like cards that are good against aggro. My opponent's still sideboarding, so the fact that they're still sideboarding, and I think they started the game with 41 cards in their deck. So they definitely changed their deck, and they changed it in light of like a red-white deck, so you also get a few extra percentage points when you switch like that. His hand's not great, but I think it's a keep. I have 2-drop into 3-drop. I'm missing a color, and my draw doesn't do anything powerful, but I think it's keep. So this is something to think about, is like, if you can curve out in this deck, is it really that much worse than curving out with a red-white deck? Like, am I really losing that much on my aggressive draws? And then on the flip side, my non-aggressive draws, where I'm trying to play like for a late game, are way, way better. Just Sarkhan's Resolve. I think he just hits two. He gets mana screwed this game. Oh, he kills my guy. Strategic Betrayal. Strategic Betrayal is really good against Sultai. Pretty bad against Mardu. I would have almost thought about siding it out against Mardu. Okay, I think this game, he just, like, there's nothing really to say here. He just didn't hit his land drops. And I just run him over. But as you can see, like, the aggressive run you over would have happened with either deck, so. So maybe you're not actually losing that much to your aggressive draws with the Sultai deck. I'm missing black mana. My mana base also works with the Sultai deck. I think I have like 8, 8, 8. I have 8 green sources, 8 black, 8 blue sources, so not perfect mana. Ideally, you want like 9, 9, 8 or something, or 9, 8, 8. So my draw is also pretty shitty, but it's good enough to beat his. And I have this Starkins. I have the Pump Spell in my hand, so I'm pretty sure he's dead. I can't imagine what would get him out of this. Does have the Sweeper, but I have the Pump Spell. So it's GG. So that was kind of a non-game, but definitely happens. I don't see a reason to change anything. I think I was counting like how many black sources do I have? I have 8 black sources. So it's pretty unlucky to not have black at that point. 8 black sources. 6 black lands, Sultai Monument, and the Sagu Wildling. I was thinking, do I want to sideboard anything? Maybe Cruel Truths would have been good in this. Maybe I should have decided in Cruel Truths for something. Maybe Cruel Truths against a slow deck is just like free. This hand's much better than my previous hand. I have all my colors. So the thing I think about here is like, do I want to play the Delta Bloodflies turn 1 or the Sultai or turn 2 or the Sultai Monument? I think it's better to just get the Bloodflies going. It'll probably equate to 3 or 4 damage over the course of the game if I play it on turn 2. Maybe more if I get counters on it quickly. Okay, so he's got a much slower draw. Like, if he would have had this draw in game 1, I probably would have won, right? So he's like, no 1-drop, no 2-drop. And that's what happens with these 5-color decks. So he is playing 5 colors. You have really powerful, yeah, I think he's just doing nothing for the first 3 turns, so. So here, I think I just want to get blue mana, as opposed to, I don't really have any other choices. Someone's texting me. Okay, so he kills my guy, so that's pretty good. Traded my shitty Bloodflies for his removal spell, and he didn't get to remove any cards from my graveyard as a Sultai deck. So I'll play 4/4. I think he kills it here. He exiles it. Oh no, he static snares it. So Static Snare is like a really good card, but in a slower deck, you're not attacking with a bunch of creatures, it definitely loses a lot of power. But he must have a game plan of like, if I can just not fall behind on tempo, then I can overpower him with good cards. Again, he hits Kodos with the Dragonstorm. I'm like, fuck. But actually, it's not so bad for me because I can copy his Kodos. And I also have a Pump Spell in my hand. So one of the things, like one of the reasons I put Sarkhan's Resolve in my deck is because pumping Kodos can be GG. it comes up. And Sargon's Resolve is like a fine card on its own anyways. So this is like the most telegraphed Jeskai Revelation of all time. Because he has the Team Room Monument and he chooses not to use it and he doesn't cast any spells. It's like, okay, it's a Jeskai Revelation. And I think I'm basically completely screwed here. I figure my best play is to tap his Kodos. There's also like a 1 in 8 chance that I draw a Dispelling Exhale off of it, but that's like kind of a long shot. Mainly, I just want to tap his Kodos to see if I can get in with my Kodos, right? Because if I can, because I know there's like a 95% chance he has Jeskai Revelation right here. So I'm dealing with the Jeskai Revelation. And if he doesn't bounce my Kodos, then I can maybe get in for 5. Getting in for 5 with the Kodos is usually GG. You're usually going to play like 3 or 4 spells. Usually like 3-ish. And casting 3 spells for free is usually just game. So he's thinking, I know what he's thinking about. He's thinking if he should bounce this to my hand with his Jeskai Revelation, or if he should respond to it. I mean, from his point of view, you would never really worry about what if my opponent doesn't have Dispelling Exhale and exactly draws Dispelling Exhale. So that I got super lucky here to draw this Dispelling Exhale. That was like game breaking. And I think it was still like a long match from here. Probably because my opponent was like drawing well, but let's see what happens. So I'm like, oh my god, I drew Dispelling Exhale. Amazing. Super lucky. Yeah, I would have 100%. I would have like almost definitely lost this game if I didn't draw that Dispelling Exhale right there. It's crazy. But hey, that's something to think about. Is like you're playing Jeskai Revelation, your opponent can sideboard into 3 Dispelling Exiles. Yep, now I'm just gonna pump my guy. It's gonna be kind of devastating. So I had Dragon Spray, but unfortunately I can't use it. But it's not bad though. I still get Sagu Pummeler and Sipsic Appraiser. So I think about, do I want the untap? Probably want the untapped. Is that a misplay? We'll see. See if I use all my mana next turn. Plays Dragon Sniper, which I'm very happy to see, but it's also kind of fishy. Like, what's going on here? Like, why are you not making a 5/5 with your Teamer Monument? So here, I don't see any reason to like speed things up. I can just grind them out. So I play Winternight Stories. I think it's correct. Get another Exhale, which is awesome. I need a dragon, but this Exhale probably will seal the deal because then I can avoid any messed up stuff from happening. A lot of times in the seal format, like you have the game handled and then someone plays a crazy bomb and then you lose. Like Death Begets Life, or like he's got the -X dragon, or lots of like crazy cards that you are in a really favorable advantage and then you just lose the game out of nowhere. So I do this. Oh, I remember why he left up his mana, because he has the Flash Dragon. He has the blue-green Flash Dragon. I figure I might as well do this because it's mana efficient and I don't really need to block with this guy. And now I'm like, okay, great. I can play this aggressive negotiations. I have to choose between, do I discard 2 cards or the Undergrowth Leopard? Or I probably want to discard a creature since I have the Right of Renewal in my hand. And I figure I don't really need to use this Leopard twice. I could probably just kill 1 artifact with it. So I'm just going to get it back with my Right of Renewal. And now I have a Dragon in my hand, so my Dispelling Exhale can protect me from any BS. So now I get to put a counter on my Kodos. Just not super relevant here since he has a Kodos himself. But I can see what's going on in his hand. And his hand is stacked, as it turns out. So he plays the Stormbrood. Gets back his Dragon. So now I have to choose between Kishla Trawlers, which can bring back his Jeskai Revelation, or the Breaching Dragonstorm, which will probably be like two or more cards this game. It can get out of hand sometimes. I'd choose the Trawlers, which I think is correct. Even though he doesn't have any creatures in his graveyard, like it's not hard for him to maybe get a creature in his graveyard. And then bring back Jeskai Revelation. Although I do have the Dispelling Exhale, there was a decent amount of thought that went into play, because I think it's pretty close, but... I think I can beat the Dragonstorm. I was also thinking, like, I can bring back my Leopard and kill the Dragonstorm if it becomes a huge problem. And I don't really mind him casting that next turn. And also, like, maybe he doesn't cast it next turn. Maybe he decides to make a 5/5 with the Monument. And then I can most likely counter it the turn after. It's kind of a close... This is, like, kind of a close call. But I ended up taking the Trawlers. I think it's the kind of situation where you don't really know like what's the right until you lose to something random and you're like, oh, there's this other aspect I wasn't thinking about. So I'm just thinking like, is there any way he can get a creature in his graveyard? Like, I'm also thinking like, how badly do I want to kill that with my Undergrowth Leopard versus the Dragonstorm? Not really sure. I think that was correct though. It just makes the game a lot less complicated for me. Because now I don't have to like worry about killing any of his creatures. So hopefully this doesn't hit a dragon. It's the Rock Sasha. It's not terrible. Also, like, if he puts a Decayed counter on my Kodos, I can probably just kill him. If my Kodos dies, because it's in the Fleshcrafter. I'm at a very healthy life total. Okay, so let's see if I use all my mana this turn, because if I don't, then maybe the tap line would have been better. Although it's pretty hard to predict something like that. Draw Dragon. I think this was definitely a misplay. I ended up playing the Durgar Island Dragon. I think I should have played Sagu Wildling. 3/3 is the same as a 4/4 flyer on this board, I think. It trades with his 4/3, it trades with a 1/1. And then I would have gained some life, and I would rather have the Durgar in my hand because then I can do stuff with it. But I was thinking like, well, maybe if my Fleshcrafter dies, then I can make everything a 4/4 flyer. But yeah, that was a mistake. I should have played Sagu Wildling here. But it's pretty hard. Well, it's not that hard to see. I could have saw it. It's a pretty complicated board state. A lot of stuff going on. If my 4/4 dies, it goes to his graveyard also. And then he can pump his Kodos, so that's something I have to worry about. But this Dispelling Exhale is going to be money. So one of the cards that overperformed, I think, was Dispelling Exhale. Having 3 ended up being correct against this sort of like 5-color jam. Oh yeah, just going with everything. So I'm like, okay, let me just try to kill him. Because he's got to block Kodos. Yeah. You probably want to do that because he wants to like, put counters on his Kodos. So then I get in for 4 and I don't really lose any. I just lose my Sipsig. But I also, yeah, I think this is a good attack. But I should have played Saga Wildling. It would have been way better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And tap line would have been slightly better than the swamp, but it's hard to calculate that so far ahead. So yeah, that's a misplay. Also, because I know like his most likely play is going to be putting 2/1/1 counters on his guy. So that was definitely a misplay. So could have played this better, which is good. It's good to find mistakes. If I wasn't making mistakes, there'd be no point in playing Magic, right? I'd just be playing tic-tac-toe. So I'm not really worried about this rock shot, so especially if it kills my Kodas, because then my Kodas becomes a flesh crafter in my graveyard. The other option I had last turn too is I could have shuffled in his pummeler. I could have shuffled stuff in his graveyard back into his library with Right of Renewal. I didn't really consider that play. That's another play that I could have thought about. But it seemed better to just start putting him under pressure. Like, I'm ahead, I just want to end the game. I have this Dispelling Exhale as protection. Just want to finish the games before any randomness comes out, especially against a 5-color deck. They could have literally anything. Okay, should have saw this coming. I basically lose my guy, but since I've been attacking, he's at a low enough life total that he can't go all out. This was also really weird. He decides he blocks at 2/2 instead of blocking my 3/2. That feels like a mistake. You just don't want Kodas to hit you ever. The other thing, like if he was at 7, I could kill him here, but he's not, because then I could renewal back my dragon, tap his guy, attack for 7. But something I thought about, but it's like, no, it's not gonna do enough damage to kill him, so it's not worth it. Yeah, this seems like a misplay on his part. I end up getting something off of it. So I can play the Stormbrood, but I'd rather not have it in his deck. Doesn't really do anything for me here. And then I can finally deal with this Kodas. That was beginning to be a pain in the butt. And now I'm just going to Right of Renewal back my Leopard and my Dragon, and I'm sitting on a counter spell and a tap spell, and I have a disenchant. I just have complete control over this game, and I'm ahead on life. So it should be easy from here. And then I can also shuffle in his Rock Sasha. So Right of Renewal is really sick. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. You can shuffle like good cards back into your deck, so you draw them again. You can shuffle all lands back into your opponent's library. I've done that before. Or you can get rid of problematic cards in your opponent's graveyard. So here I can target the Rakshasa and the Abzan Devotee. Unfortunately, he has enough mana to return the Devotee, but really, really good card. Kind of slow, but tends to be worth it. Very rarely have I found this card to be bad. So he returns the Abzan Devotee, and I can play this Leopard. I'm holding up Disenchant, and I'm holding up a counterspell. I feel very, very safe here. I know he has an Abzan Devotee and a mystery card. I also have 2 Dispelling Exhale. Dispelling Exhale is kind of sick. Counter unless they pay 4 at this point is like almost as good as a counter spell. Only if he pays like a 3 mana. Only pays like a 3-4 mana spell, I can't counter it. And even then, sometimes you just make them tap out, right? So if you tap 2 mana and make them tap 4 mana, that's a tempo positive play. It can be enough tempo to win you the game in certain cases. So, just waiting for him to make his move. I'm kind of expecting a 5/5. That would deal with the Codas. That would kind of make sense. Also, you know, he can get it off before I use my Leopard. Also, he attacks here, which is super weird. And I couldn't figure out what it meant when he attacks. I'm like, what on earth could he have? It's basically signaling like I have something that can deal with your creatures. Maybe like rediscover the way or something. Or well, not rediscover the way. Step forward, a new step. What was it? It's like the one that prevents damage, and then you draw equal to the amount of damage you prevented, and deal that to your opponent. So I was assuming he's got some kind of crazy rare right here. He does have a rare. But I forgot like this dragon makes it so he can play sorceries at instant speed, right? So I cashed this in for a 4/4. Seems like a good trade. So you gotta always remember, like, he can play dragons at instant speed, and he plays sorceries at instant speed now. So he's got the sweeper. And then I just kind of like style on him a little bit, because why not? Make him feel like I misclicked. Playing with his emotions a little bit. He's like, okay, everything gets -4, -4. And also my dragon survives. So that's kind of sick. And I'm like, should I do the additional cost? I'm like, nah, I got 2 of these. I'll just make him think I misclicked. And then I'll show him still had all these Dispelling Exhales. So he pays 2. And then I just play my other one, GG. No re. So, that's that. So let's talk about what did we learn here. So we learned that probably playing these is not a good idea. Probably just want to be straight red-white. If you don't have enough like really free fixing like a monument or the devotees, then maybe this is just not worth it. So if I was gonna remake this deck, I would probably. Do I still play the Sonic Shrieker? Yeah, so actually maybe this Skull Rose, this is like pretty good in the deck. So okay, so 2 black cards. I think you want to have like 5 black sources. 1, 2, 3. So maybe this. Let me try this. So maybe this is a better version of this deck. 4 tap lands, so you still maybe 4 tap lands is not worth playing these cards, but these are pretty good cards. So something to think about. So I could have built the deck a little bit better. I don't think Shiko is good. The Sultai deck, Dispelling Exhale is really good, but I'm not sure if you want to play 3 main deck. Maybe. I mean, it's really good against that deck. It can be worse against a faster deck with lower mana cost, but it's also good early game. But I think the list was fine. So yeah, and then there was a couple of misplays I made, but they were pretty close. Overall, I think I played pretty well. So that's what I learned. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next video.